Well, welcome back, everyone, to the Cypress Sports Show. Today, we're going to welcome two Cypress alumni, Sports Illustrated writer Nick Selbe and Los Angeles Clippers Director of Team Operations Max Reza. But before we catch up with them, let's get our weekly update. Coach, what do you got?
Yeah, it's going to be great to hear from Nick and Max, two great student athletes at Cypress, doing really well. All right, spring sports. Boys baseball team, Orange County Register has us at number 5 in the county this week. Last week took on El Toro and Aliso Niguel. Matt Morrell had a home run. Luke Matlock, Zach Ocampo, our starting pitchers, went 12 innings, 0 runs. This week we're taking on Mission Viejo and Ocean View. Of course, Ocean View has our former assistant coaches coaching over there, so it's always a good time for Coach Weber and the boys before opening up league against Kennedy next week. Our softball team's heading out to Bullhead City for the Big Dave Cops tournament this week, something we've done annually for the last several years. Boys volleyball, after defeating St. John Bosco last Friday, we opened up with the league victory over Valencia 3-1 on Tuesday. Boys golf started their season in a dual match with Marina, got the W. Nathan Yu shot a 32 at Meadowlark. Coach Russell, that is 3 under. Boys tennis 3-0 last week with victories over Western, Orange Lutheran, and Cerritos before losing to Huntington Beach on Tuesday. Boys are 7-3 now with Servite and Yorba Linda still to come this week. Our track team open up the league season this Thursday versus Kennedy at home. So exciting time. We'll be busy out there on the track and field. Our swim team's taking on Cerritos Thursday, their final tune-up before league opens up next week. And our badminton team is 2-0 in league before playing perennial power Cerritos on Tuesday. So we're off and running spring sports. Here we go.
Yeah, we got one more week, and then we got spring break. We'll be thick into the league play right when we come back. So weather has been nice. It's going to be lighter, longer with the time change. I mean, spring's in the air. Great time to get outside and watch some sports. Well, Slev, we love hearing from former players and students at Cypress. We're lucky enough to have 2 of them here today who have remained in the athletics arena for their career, which is pretty cool. Here with us today is Director of Team Operations Max Reza and Sports Illustrated writer Nick Selbe. Great to see you guys. Welcome to the program.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having us.
Good to be here.
Well, you guys are looking great. I hear nothing but good things. I even heard one of you has been in hair and makeup since like 10 a.m. Some of us do need a little more time to look good. Maybe Max and Slev don't, but Nick, you and I, we need a little bit of that time. You two guys are always some of the hardest workers that we've ever had at Cypress. Extremely hard workers when you're here. It's not surprising that you both are doing great things in your careers. You guys worked your way up kind of to where you are now. So how were the experiences maybe through high school and in college and even through your early career that's helped you prepare for your journey?
Like for me in athletics, I wasn't always like the best player. I'm not naturally that athletic. I'm tall, I'm big, but I'm not very naturally athletic. So for me, I've just always had to work hard at my craft. That started, like you guys said, in athletics, playing basketball, playing football at Cypress. I was a Cypress kid, my entire life. Played NJB in Cypress, played Pop Warner in Cypress, Little League in Cypress. So, like I said, for me, I've always had to work hard at my craft. That started in high school, both academically and athletically. And then as I started to grow in my professional career in college, into my professional career now with the Clippers, it's been the same. The work ethic is the same. I'm not naturally the smartest. I'm not naturally the best, but I will outwork you to the point where I will get to the top. So I credit all that to playing sports and, being at the high school level.
Yeah, I feel pretty similarly growing up playing sports, both at Cypress and, Little League, Park and Rec and stuff. Just that really helped cultivate a passion for sports and, building good habits, hard work, all that stuff, but also just forming connections with different people. So much of everything in life is who you know, but like what you can learn from the people that are around you. I think that kind of started in those team and classroom atmospheres. And then at Cypress, just on the school side, I remember Mr. Herrick's history class. He was different in a way that every test was an essay test. And that was like where I think a lot of students, myself particularly, really developed the skill of writing, which is definitely something that needs practice like anything else. So I think that the roots started there and then continued on throughout college.
Very nice. Shout out to Mr. Herrick's history class. Yeah. There's a lot of students over the years that have loved his class for sure. You guys surrounded yourself with great people in high school, big group of friends, longtime friends. And we hear about how people miss the old high school days. What do you guys miss about being in high school?
I think it's exactly what you said, Coach, is just being near these people, being with them every single day. I think you guys can attest, like as you grow older, you guys grow apart. It's just harder to get with people, on their schedules, with their work schedules, their family schedules. So that's the main thing. That group that we really cultivated, just our group specifically, there's a group of about 8 to 9 of us that all went to college, all went to pretty much big, colleges. We were able to visit each other during college. It was a great time, but everybody's taken their own path. Everybody's gotten into the professional world, taking us from Texas to New York to California, both North and Southern California. So I think that's the toughest part now is just we are still such a tight group, but not being able to see each other daily, or even weekly, monthly, anything like that. That's the hardest thing now is to get with each other consistently.
Yeah, the time spent is something that you can tell a high school kid, don't take it for granted, but they're not going to listen. It doesn't really hit until, you get some distance. And I'm fortunate that a lot of my closest friends from high school, I still keep in pretty regular contact with, Max included. But there's something to be said about the time spent actually, playing a sport together. Like Max and I, memories of a really hard Cypress basketball practice. In the moment, probably didn't appreciate it very much, but it's like, that's a really unique thing that you don't get very long in your life. So that kind of thing, it's weirdly enough, and my dad somewhere is hearing me say this and is laughing, kind of missed the practice part and the hard stuff that in the moment you really probably dread or at the very least take for granted.
Me and Nick still talk about, we're not going to name names of who it was, but when we were playing football, we got in trouble. We didn't bring the football bag out, and we both played quarterback. And we had punishment for that. And Coach TBD, who we won't say, made us do up downs every 5 yards for 100 yards. And that's something we still talk about today. We'll just be hanging out and be like, man, remember when that happened? That really sucked. And so it's little moments like that we still touch on. There's so many of them that we touch on every time we're together.
To be clear, it was 2 footballs under the arm, run 5 yards, drop down to the ground, and then jump up, do it again. I will say it was the group's fault, but I probably was mostly my fault, for being totally honest. But we don't hold grudges here. It's a safe space.
Not only that, we got a story to talk about forever now, right? That's
Right.
more important.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, Nick, you're currently Sports Illustrated breaking news writer. I don't know everything that entails. Sounds pretty important. What's a typical day like for you when you go to work?
Typical day, I work a set hours, so a normal 8-hour day. And inside of that window, I'm kind of just like a hawk looking for whatever news is coming out. Maybe a coach said something in a press conference, or there's trade rumors that are being reported elsewhere. And I kind of aggregate that and get those posts up so that they live on Sports Illustrated's site. I'm also kind of looking at, Google Analytics and TweetDeck, and to see what's trending and what's being talked about, and seeing, can I make a creative kind of post about that? This is a conversation that people are having online about, I don't know, MLB fans are really angry that the lockout's still happening. Here's what they're saying. And trying to form a post that's tied to the news, but also kind of what's being talked about in the moment. So that's a typical snapshot of a day for me. For 8 hours, on slow days, it's kind of a grind looking for stories and trying to get creative. But on busy days, if yesterday with all the NFL kind of craziness, the news flies and it's hard to keep up, and it goes by pretty quickly.
And Nick, before you previously wrote on Major League Baseball, fantasy baseball, and did weekly NFL predictions, is there one sport that's harder to track or harder to write on? And is there one sport you enjoy reporting on more than another?
I try to keep a good handle on everything, because the nature of the job is whatever is happening in the moment, you should be able to speak somewhat authoritatively and credibly on it. So I think maybe the hardest for me is maybe the NBA. It's just in like a personal interest side. I follow it probably the least of the major ones. And then if I can gravitate towards one, I've just kind of always steered towards baseball. It's just kind of been always my favorite sport, the one I feel like I understand the most and can kind of speak about with the most, I guess, kind of not expertise, but like I feel like I have a firm grasp on, analytics and deep sabermetrics and that kind of thing. So baseball's always been kind of the lean for me, at least.
Very cool, Max. You came up through the ranks with the Clipper organization, starting as the basketball facilities assistant, then the manager, now the director. Did you at the time have a goal when you got the job with the Clippers, and did that change over the years? Do you still have another goal that you want to look to attain?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. I truthfully was never really supposed to be in this line of work. For those that don't know, I actually graduated from USC in 2014, had a degree in public policy. Directly after that, I went in to get my master's of education. I'm actually one class short of getting my master's of education. But I went to get my master's of education specifically in post-secondary education. I thought I was going to work at the collegiate level. I wanted to work in intercollegiate athletics. And so it just happened to be that during my second year here with the Clippers, during my second year of grad school, the position that you mentioned, the basketball facilities assistant position, opened up. So I was like, oh man, like I really didn't see this coming. I really didn't. And I talked to my wife, who was then my girlfriend. I talked to my parents, and they're like, you kind of just got to go with this. It's just like, you don't really get this opportunity very often to work for a professional sports team. So I did, and just I've had one stroke of luck after another. I've been in the right position. I've always done the right things, but a lot of breaks have gone my way to get to where I'm at now at such a young age. I'm 31 and I'm at a director level. I'm just like really grateful to be at this position now. So to answer your question, in short, I didn't even think this was my goal for a long time. But now that I'm in this space, I'd like to continue in the current role that I'm at for now. I don't really know exactly what my next step would be. Right now, we really oversee the services and the team operation in general. So whether that's equipment, facilities, team travel, I'm really loving this space that I'm in right now. I could see a couple opportunities where I might make a jump into some different categories, but for now, I'm pretty content where I'm at. I feel like I really still want to grow in this space particularly.
Hey, Max, that's pretty impressive, your journey through school and with the Clippers. Ton of planning has gone into your experience. It hasn't always followed the plan, but you've fallen into some great opportunities. How important is planning in your daily job, though, on a day-to-day, and what can high school students and athletes learn from planning ahead, and what can they do to get better at that?
Yeah, so really my job is 100% planning. And so you asked the question to Nick, like, what's your normal day look like? There's really not a normal day in my industry. It just happens to be, it's a home game, you're traveling, it's a road game, you're traveling, you're coming back home. So it's so sporadic that if you're not organized, if you're not a planner, you're just going to fail at the job. So I actually just had this self-reflection recently, like, where did I get so organized and detail oriented? And I could track it back to when I was just in high school, like taking clean notes, like keeping my papers organized, keeping a clean binder. When I was in elementary school, keeping that clean desk that, when you have your own desk, keeping your locker organized. Whenever you're turning in like, if you're an athlete, if you have to turn in laundry of any sort, making sure that your stuff is, not a mess, having it sorted together and everything. So it's those little things that you're like, what is this really going to lead to in the future, that have actually come back and helped me tremendously in my job now.
Max has always been extremely organized and has immaculate penmanship. Just, if you haven't seen it, something to behold ever since junior high. Just
It's
always
even
moving
something
on.
like that though, just like having pride in your work and, caring about how things present to others. I think those just little details have always helped me along the way.
Yeah, I would say both of you. Nick, you're right there as well. I mean, everything you guys present is very, very well planned out, very well spoken, very well written. It's always been that way. It's something I really respect with you guys. And I've enjoyed watching you guys through your journeys since high school time. And I'm sure there were times in high school and even in college earlier in your career when you had adversity, right? When things didn't go kind of as you planned it. What have you learned in the past that kind of helps you deal with adversity now?
Yeah, I think with adversity, it's just like a matter of acknowledging the moment, right? Like whether something doesn't break your way or whether you didn't get the grade that you thought or whatever it may be, you didn't get into the program, specifically for high school students, right? I used to be a college advisor. I know, let's talk about that specifically. You don't get into the college you want. How are you going to pivot now? Understand what just happened, pivot, and then trying to, with a clear mind, really think about what your next step is. So that's it for me. I mean, even if you tie it back to sports, like I've had games where I threw 3 interceptions or I've not made one basket in a basketball game. And it is what it is. Like you just got to kind of move on. You move forward, blank slate. Our coach used to say one is one. I used to think it was really like corny back in high school. And now Nick and I still like, it's just something we still say, like one is one, man. Get it out of your head. Like, so it's funny. That's kind of like my attack, like how I attack adversity. One is one, just wipe it out.
Yeah, if you didn't score a basket in basketball in high school, I blame the coach. It had to be his problem. His fault.
He's not
Get
using
a couple more sets run for me.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, echoing everything Max just said, there's no set path. High school kids especially, I think most of them probably have a dream school they really want to go to, and that's just like all they are looking at, all they're focused on. And most of the time it doesn't work out, but that's very okay that it doesn't work out. There's many paths to get to where your ultimate goal destination is. As far as adversity for me, I can just to tie it to sports. I can remember my junior year, it was like the week that Coach Russell was making teams, brought me in and said, "Hey man, listen, you're like the 12th guy that I'm going to put on this team. Okay. If you're going to be on this team, I need you to commit to just being the practice MVP. Like you're just going to be the practice 110 miles an hour all the time." I was like, absolutely. You got it for sure. Like 3 days later in a JV football game, I tore a ligament in my foot, didn't play the whole basketball season. So I really delivered on that promise, coach. But looking back on that, it's easy to I think I really just was felt kind of sorry for myself and didn't really assert myself to think, how can I still make an impact while being injured? I kind of just was a little mopey. And with the hindsight of 12 years, I see that that's not how you handle an unexpected speed bump coming your way. There's more ways for you to make an impact. It'll be better for the people around you and better for yourself too if you try to get creative and see what else you can do even with this limitation, this setback.
Pretty amazing how much wisdom you guys have already. You guys are very wise. There's no doubt. How is athletics, sum it up, how has athletics played a role in preparing you guys for college, in your career? What advice would you guys have for high school athletes?
I think it's being able to adapt to others. I think that's the main thing. I think when you're younger and you're in high school, you don't really realize how much you're going to have to work with others, how much you're going to have to be compatible with others, how much you're going to have to adapt to others. And so I think high school sports, high school in general, it's the entry into teaching you how to work with others, how to, be open to criticism, be open to, different viewing opinions, all that stuff. So I think that's the main thing. As I look back on it, just even playing basketball, this person is going to do it one way. This person wants a screen this way. This person wants you to pass it that way. It's just being able to be flexible with others and really accommodating others.
Yeah, and to kind of further that, there's going to be people on your team or maybe a coach, nobody on this call comes to mind, but that you just don't like or don't get along with. And that's going to happen throughout every stop of your life, professionally and personally. And you're going to have a manager who you don't see eye to eye with and you butt heads with. And you got to just make it work. You got to find some common ground to operate functionally together. And then just, we've kind of touched on this before, but just the work part. Every athlete can get by on talent, but there's a certain point where the competition steps up and you actually need to practice and take it seriously, and really put in extra time on whatever it is you're trying to develop.
Very cool. Yeah, great stuff so far from you guys. This is awesome. The last part of the interview kind of is rapid fire questions. Just some quick questions for you guys. Don't overthink them. Whatever comes to your mind, we're going to spit them out and see what you guys have. You ready?
Ready.
Okay.
All right. Favorite restaurant in Cyprus?
I hear it's just closing down, but Lupo's was a staple of the Selbes, and also shout out Catella.
I don't know if they're a restaurant, but I do love Albert Tacos. I don't know if you're just going to consider that fast food, but I would say Albert Tacos number one, if we are going to consider that in that category, but also Lupo's.
Yeah, that counts for sure. Now,
Albert Tacos was Jamil Douglas's number one spot as well. We'll count it.
Man, I haven't been there in a long time. That's a great spot.
I go
Sorry,
there
we're
every
ruining
time.
the rapid
Every time
fire.
in Cyprus, I go there. 100%.
now you both went to SC, so favorite restaurant in the SC area?
Oh, geez. I mean, we ate Vistango like twice a week. I don't know about favorite, but most mileage, absolutely. This little Italian place that was right down from our apartment.
Yeah, definitely got to go. Vistango is up there. And then if you have a chance, it's a little bit off the beaten path. 2 spots. Caveman Kitchen. It's a little closer to the 10 freeway. Nick, you know what I'm talking about. And if you want to go out, maybe have a little bit of adult beverages, there's a place called La Barca, also a great spot. A little bit off the beaten path.
Also, one more in the Arts District, Wurstkirch sausage place. It's a great spot. There's like 2 or 3. I don't know where the other ones are, but that one's there.
I feel like there's stories behind those, but we'll wait. We'll do those on another day. All right, we got high socks, ankle length socks. What do you got?
High socks. Yeah, high socks.
Ankle length socks, but preferably no-show socks. But ankle length socks.
Yeah, I'm also a no-show guy.
Favorite Cypress High memory?
Ooh, dang. Let me think. I know I'm supposed to rapid fire this. This is the obvious one. I guess Max's junior year, my sophomore year, winning CIF football championship. That was pretty fun.
Yeah, I'd have to say that too. I think as years pass, it's becoming more and more like special to me. I didn't really think about it for the first 5, 6, 7 years. But as they've gone back and they haven't been able to win, I'm like, oh man, like this really was a tough thing to accomplish. Like I don't think I really appreciate it in the moment. So it's got to be number one for me. But a lot of close seconds.
What's a funny fact that nobody knows about your job?
Funny fact about my job. So much of it is just spent online, like doom scrolling through Twitter. And it's just like the most unglamorous, like, man, my eyes are about to pop out of my head. I don't know how funny that is, but occasionally I laugh at that fact.
Mine isn't more funny, it's more quirky. With professional sports, like athletes can be very particular about their routine, specifically pregame routines or practice routines and everything. And so that's just kind of the most interesting thing. I have to hang jerseys a certain way for certain guys. I have to put out a certain shoe. Some guys want to have 3 shoes just so that, whatever they're feeling that day, specific bubble gum, specific water. I mean, you could go down the list. I have so many little quirks for each player that, hey, whatever allows you to focus on basketball, that's fine. So more quirky than funny, but that's kind of what comes to mind.
What's one personality trait that's helped you the most?
I would say being even-keeled. The journalism industry in general can be a bumpy ride. I'm sure you see in the news lots of companies laying people off or this and that, and it's just kind of what you sign up for when you enter the profession. So having a kind of steady hand when stuff like that's going on is a valuable trait.
Yeah, I'd say mine is just kind of my work ethic. I think there's kind of this old adage that the NBA is kind of an old boys club, and you either played or you have a father that's a coach or something like that. And I have neither, so for me, the only way I've gotten in this industry is just from working, and it's really paid off for me over and over again. So I know it's kind of cliche, but it's just been my work ethic, just being there, being available, willing to lend a helping hand, being a good teammate. I feel like those are the things that have helped me kind of get to where I'm at today.
Best athlete you played against in high school?
Oof. Played against in high school. Man, I wish probably Josh Kizada, the La Habra running back, our senior year, who Cyprus lost in the CAF semifinals. Yeah, he went on to play at BYU and Utah, I think. I can't remember, but that was probably him.
I'm pretty positive about this, but you guys correct me if I'm wrong, Slev and Russ. We used to play during the summertime. We used to play in this Los Alamitos PM League, and we would play against Artesia sometimes. And I'm pretty positive James Harden was on that team. And I've asked him if he remembers that, and just in passing that I've seen him, and he says yes, he played in those. So by deductive reasoning, I have to say James Harden in those summer leagues that we got absolutely crushed in.
I'm pretty sure we played him at some point in the summer when he was at Artesia. I don't remember when or where, but I'm pretty sure we went against him at some point.
Yeah.
Best athlete at Cyprus during your time here?
I mean, shoot. I'd have to say Ryan Sommer, who was the star of that CAF championship team. I don't know if he played anywhere after high school, but he played quite literally every position that you could play and never came off the field. So I think it has to be him.
I'd have to say probably Akili Muhammad. I mean, that guy was just next level, just a next level athlete. I've never seen anybody move as quick as him. And then I would have to say probably Vince Bug Rivera. He'd be up there as like one of my top athletes as well. I think he only played football, but I mean, he probably could have played every other sport as well. But those are two that come to mind for me. Oh, you know what? Stealth candidate. Nick and I both agree to this. Zach Ortiz.
Oh, yeah.
Zach Ortiz was one of the most physically gifted in every single sport. Could throw a ball 80 yards, could shoot threes like Steph Curry, and could throw 90 miles per hour in baseball.
Yeah, the effortless 60-yard bombs. I'm like crow hopping to throw it 35 yards, and he's just like, and then it's gone. I'm like, how does he do that? I don't understand. He's up there. Also, just a quick shout out to Jimmy Jackson, the 5'6", automatic bucket.
Is he still the all-time leading scorer?
He is. Yeah.
A record that will be tough to touch.
We'll see. There's always guys, right? A lot of running gun and points going up nowadays. So
it's true.
What's your favorite late night TV show? You're sitting at home at night. You could choose any show. What are you watching?
I guess I'll go. I've been watching Succession a lot, so Succession is probably my favorite just show, period. And I think you can't go wrong there.
I was going to say Succession or Billions. Both of those, I'm just totally all in on Succession or Billions. Those would be my 1 and 2, 1A, 1B.
Max and I are really into financial malfeasance and morally corrupt people that are high achievers. So tells you all you need to know about us.
All right, the last one, toughest one, best sports movie of all time.
Oof. It's a 2-horse race for me, and it's between Bull Durham and White Men Can't Jump, and I will say White Men Can't Jump is my gun to my head answer.
Okay, my personal preference is Friday Night Lights. It came out when I was literally about to enter high school, so it struck so many chords with me and was like it really was a perfect movie in my opinion at the age of 14. Probably not the answer you're looking for, but an answer I will give is Moneyball. I think Moneyball is a fantastic movie. Now, again, we can get into the weeds about, are we looking for a good plot, hero wins in the end, all that, but just start to finish, I watch Moneyball every time it's on TV.
It's an
Very
awesome
cool. I'm going to say that this might be the slowest fast action question time we've ever done, but they're all great answers. So I appreciate it. Well, hey guys, thanks again, Max, Reza, Nick, Selbe, for being here, for spending time with us, taking time out of your day. I know you guys have a lot going on. We appreciate you being here. So thank you very much for being on the show today.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys.
Thanks,
Yeah,
guys.
I want to give you guys a shout out too. You guys, obviously, Coach Selby is so big in our lives, but you guys were too. Coach Fenn, but you two specifically, because you guys were not only our coaches, but also we had you guys both as teachers, I'm pretty sure. And I think the impact you guys made on Cypress kids, and I'm sure you're still making positive impacts on Cypress kids. I think for you guys, great coaches, great teachers, but also great family men. I think, I always think of that as well. You guys were always great role models for me growing up. So much appreciation from this way to you guys as well.
Yeah, definitely seconded. Max and I are very lucky to have great parents, but role models, you got to collect them, and you two definitely stand out. So we thank you for that, and it was a joy to be on the show.
Well,
Thank you guys.
We appreciate it very much. And again, thanks for being here. We'll be back next week with more coach and player interviews, an update on some Centurion games, which is coming up. Don't forget to share this on social media. Support your athletes, support your coaches, support our alumni. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see everybody next week.